Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about Jonah's excuse. I'm going to start off by reading Jonah 1 through 17. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me. But Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it, to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. But the Lord hurled a great wind upon the sea, and there was a mighty tempest on the sea, so that the ship threatened to break up. Then the mariners were afraid, and each cried out to his God. And they hurled the cargo that was in the ship into the sea to lighten it for them. But Jonah had gone down into the inner part of the ship and had lain down and was fast asleep. So the captain came and said to him, What do you mean, you sleeper? Arise, call out to your God. Perhaps the God will give a thought to us, that we may not perish. And they said to one another, Come, let us cast lots, that we may know on whose account this evil has come upon us. So they cast lots, and that lot fell on Jonah. Then they said to him, Tell us on whose account this evil has come upon us. What is your occupation, and where do you come from? What is your country, and of what people are you? And he said to them, I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Then the men were exceedingly afraid and said to him, What is this that you have done? For the men knew that he was fleeing from the presence of the Lord, because he had told them. Then they said to him, What shall we do to you, that the sea may quiet down for us? For the sea grew more and more tempestuous. He said to them, Pick me up and hurl me into the sea. Then the sea will quiet down for you. For I know it is because of me that this great tempest has come upon you. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to get back to dry land, but they could not, for the sea grew more and more tempest against them. Therefore they called out to the Lord, O Lord, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not on us innocent blood. For you, O Lord, have done as it pleased you. So they picked up Jonah and hurled him into the sea, and the sea ceased from its raging. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows. And the Lord appointed a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. So this is from a story in the Bible that we all know so well. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh because it was so evil. Instead of obeying, Jonah fled to Tarshish, away from where God wanted him to go. He ran away because he was afraid. He did not want to go into a foreign city to tell them they were sinful and going to be wiped out. Jonah was talking to the people on the boat with him. He told them that he was fleeing from the Lord. Jonah told them when the sea calmed down for them to toss him in. This is the part of the story that we all remember so easily. Jonah was swallowed by a big fish. Jonah's story continues on for the next 3 chapters, but I'm going to focus on his excuse that he made right from the beginning. Jonah did not simply say yes. Jonah said no. He fled to Tarshish away from the Lord. His excuse was greater than what the Lord saw. So his excuse was in the very, very beginning in verse 3 of chapter 1. So right from the beginning, he made an excuse on why he did not want to go to Nineveh, why he did not want to do what the Lord was calling him to do. Right from the beginning was Jonah's excuse. And I mean, we know how the story goes. He ends up going to Nineveh, but from the beginning, he made an excuse. How many times have we done like Jonah and made an excuse right from the beginning? We feel the Lord calling us to do something. We know what he wants us to do. We hear it, we feel it, and it's put right in front of us so very clearly what God is telling us to do. But yet we get scared and we make an excuse on why we shouldn't do it. And we end up doing some other plan of ours that we come up with. And it's not what the Lord has called us to do. Has there been a time the Lord has called you to something? What'd you do? Did you follow with what the Lord had called, or did you go your own route? Did you make one excuse after another? It wasn't just one excuse, maybe 2 or 3 on why you weren't going to follow what the Lord was calling. An example for me is with, like I've said before, is with the devotionals and writing. I love to write, and it's something I've always felt like the Lord was calling me to do. But I let the doubt and the fear get the best of me years ago, because so many people have wrote books, so many people wrote books for kids, so many people have wrote devotionals, whether it's online, whether it's in a book. I mean, if you go to the store or go on Amazon, you see so many devotionals. So, yes, I felt the Lord calling me to do it. But what was so special about me telling it versus all the other books that someone else can get? What was so special about my story that I was going to tell, the devotionals that I wanted other people to hear? Why would someone read my devotionals when they had so many choices already? What do I have to share that someone else hasn't already? If God is calling you to do something, don't hesitate. There's a reason he's calling you. Listen. Don't make excuses on why you shouldn't do it. Don't be like Jonah. Don't make excuses. It's easier to say than do. I mean, obviously, because I'm living it. But if the Lord is calling you to do it, then he has no doubt on you doing it. So follow what the Lord is saying and just simply listen. No excuses. We are called to share the word of God with others. Don't flee from your Nineveh. Whatever that may be, don't flee from it. Don't go running and hiding to Tarshish. It's something that looks all nice and safe and comfortable. Don't flee from your Nineveh. And after this, I want us to remember that. Don't be like Jonah and flee from Nineveh, or what the Lord is calling us to do. Because there's a reason he's calling us to do it. Don't make excuses. And our memory verse I chose is Jonah 1:16. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your day. Our next story I'm going to do is on Jeremiah's excuse. Can't wait to share it with you.